hackathons, you get learning opportunities. You get some experience of working on project in a short duration that helps you in just building your time management skills. You can learn a tech stack. Maybe you had no idea about how to make a web app, but you participated in a hackathon, tried building by watching tutorials, and tried building something. So you get to learn a lot in a short duration, which is the most important perk of a hackathon. And you also get to meet a lot of new people. So which is nice to network and have more new friends. You can maybe collaborate with these people even later on some personal projects, or maybe for some other hackathons. So yeah, that helps a lot. And these are some of the reasons why you should attend a hackathon. It adds to your resume, and you can connect with people. You can connect with maybe the sponsors, and a lot of sponsors might be offering internships. So it's really nice to have a network and connect with them on LinkedIn. Maybe reach out to them if they have any internship openings and stuff like that. So hackathons help in that aspect a lot. So yeah, there are a lot of perks. So this is why you should attend a hackathon. If we talk about a general hackathon roadmap, this is what it looks like. The first step in a hackathon after you have registered for a hackathon is to make a team. After you have formed a team, the next step is to come up with an idea. After you have decided and finalized an idea, the next step is coding, building something, and the last step is presenting it, the showtime. So we'll go through each step one by one, and I'll give you some tips from my experience, what I found useful. So starting with the team formation, it's really important to have a good team. And what you can do to find a good team is you can make use of the communication channels like Discord. There are team formation channels where you can simply introduce yourself, mention your tech skills, and just ask around what you're looking for. Maybe you are a front end developer and you're looking for some other developers and designers. So you can just post about it, other people will reach out, and you can also reach out to other folks from Discord and try to make a team. So that's one way to make a team. Another way to make a team is join the speed teaming events. Organizers help you with that. So they will have a team formation session, sort of, where you can find a team. And obviously, the most obvious way to find a team is to just bring your friends along from your high school or college friends. You can just you have worked with them in the past and you know them well, you know their skills as well. So maybe you can just collaborate and build something together. So that's another way. The recommended composition, I would say, is to have a designer, somebody who can make Figma prototypes. They can, maybe they are good at writing content and they can make a professional product pitching video. It's not necessary that a designer should have all these skills. A designer is somebody who can just help with the design aspect of the product. So they can make Figma prototypes, and then the developers use those Figma prototypes to um, use that prototype and just build the project, like just code whatever is there. So you can have another person apart from like having a designer, a backend developer, and a front end developer. You can have another person who is more of a business sort of like mindset and can pitch the product and maybe work on the professional pitching video, and they can help you in writing content. So it shouldn't it's sometimes when people think about hackathons, they're like, oh, it's for developers, people who can code, who can build stuff. But it's actually for everyone, and everyone can contribute in some or the other way. Some teammates might be really good, like they have really creative ideas and they're good at coming up with the features, and they are good at researching and just uh, yeah, those kind of things. So you should have a team that can do all those things. So apart from developers, it's important to have designers and business people as well in the team. People who have interest in business, can do research, can present, can write content. So that's what the composition of a good team should look like. The recommended team size should be 3 to 4 members, and it's not necessary that a person has is doing development. That means they cannot contribute. I mean, it should be totally on the team how they want to distribute the task. Maybe you are a developer and you also have ideas and interest in contributing to the content or maybe to the designs. So you should just collaborate with your team and try to just come up with the best, whatever's best for your team and the project. So just try to collaborate well. And yeah, that's basically about the composition and the team formation part. Let's move to the next step. Yeah, so don't end up with a team like this. I have been to hackathons where I was the first person doing the 99% of the work, and the reason for that was because I just teamed up with random people, and maybe something from my end as well. Maybe we didn't communicate that well, and because people are from like different time zones, so it's sometimes hard to manage that as well. They might be sleeping when I'm just pinging them to ask about the work or stuff. So it's really important to communicate with your team. So when you make a team, try to have a just a quick call and just get to know each other. When you're teaming up with random people, just try to have a quick call, get to know each other, get to know about their technical skills, or just in whatever way they want to contribute, and what they want to gain from the hackathon. So they should be equally motivated as well. And there's this concept called social loafing. So when you're working in a group setting, it happens that all the members somehow don't put like equal efforts. Everyone is like, it's some sort of accountability. So a lot of times it happened with me as well, that my teammates were not motivated to work on the project, and that affected me as well. And it's just we kind of wasted the weekend by not building something. A lot of times I just didn't make anything at all, or just because others were not motivated, and we just the communication issues and also the motivation towards building the project. So that shouldn't happen. When you're working in a group setting, try to contribute, and don't be a social loafer. Don't do nothing. Try to contribute as much as you can, because it's a great learning opportunity to be at hackathons and build something. It's gonna help you a lot. And I'm saying this because it did help me a lot so far. So yeah, don't be a social loafer. Just be somebody who actually learns during hackathons and contributes to the team. So yeah, that's about it. And some tips from my end in terms of like how to manage your team. So have a Discord server or another communication channel that you prefer. Maybe you prefer WhatsApp. You can exchange numbers and have a WhatsApp group, or maybe you prefer Slack than Discord. So whatever works for you, try to have a communication channel. Make different channels, maybe for we had like idea channel for just random sharing random ideas. For resources, we used to share just some links or something like that. So that totally depends on how you want to do it. So set some ground rules, uh, distribute responsibilities and tasks so everyone knows what they're going to do. Have frequent and scheduled meets. So everyone should try to update each other about what they're doing, if they are stuck on anything, if they need some help. And maybe your teammates might be able to help you with that issue, or maybe you need a mentor for that. So you can reach out to the hackathon mentors and get help from them. Just make good use of communication channel. Most of the times, from what I observed, whenever my team messed up was because of the communication. Also working with different time zones, it happens that you are not able to communicate that well. Also depends on the team members too. maybe they are busy with something, or they are not that motivated. So it totally depends. So it's really important to make good use of communication channel, and just keep on having meets and keep on updating each other about what you're working on, and if you're stuck on something, and try to help your teammates. And yeah, ask mentors whenever you feel like you're stuck on something and you just can't. Stack Overflow is also not helping you, so it's good to reach out to the mentors who have good technical knowledge, and they will be help you out. And try to teach if you know something, and your teammate is working on something, they want to learn that thing and contribute to the project. You can teach them and also learn from them, and use GitHub, or if you prefer any other version control system for your code management. So if you haven't used GitHub, I'm sure some of you might have, but if you haven't, so GitHub is where you push your code. So it's on cloud, and everyone can just clone the code in their local system, work on the code, and then push it to GitHub. So everyone can have the same code, and they can work on it. And it's good to like have just to collaborate. It's important to know how to do that. So in terms of code, you cannot just use mails or something for sharing your code files. So it's important to have a version control system, and collaborate where you can collaborate in terms of coding. So if you haven't used GitHub, I would recommend you to have a quick look at some good GitHub tutorials with your team. And yeah, I'll have some more tips on that. So yeah, these are some basic tips for managing your team. And let's move on to the next step, which is ideation. Idea, I would say, is the soul of the hackathon project. It's really important to have a good idea. So where can you find cool ideas? So, ideas are basically problem statements, and problem statements can be found by just looking around. So, if you're participating in a hackathon that has a theme, so some hackathons have a single theme, some hackathons have multiple themes. So, you can choose one of the themes. Themes can be anything. They can be maybe hackathon wants you to make projects related to education, solving some accessibility issue, or maybe some social issue, sort of. So it totally depends on the hackathon. So if there are maybe hackathons, some hackathons just give you the problem statement and you just work on those problem statements. But if not, if there are themes, so you can choose one of the themes that you are interested in. And there are some sponsor prizes as well. So sometimes there might be some APIs or something. So if you use those APIs in your project, then you can win that sponsor prize. So you can also try to have to just choose a theme and also use that API if it is important. It shouldn't be the case where you are just trying to fit in more categories, or just targeting more prizes and like that. It's more important to focus more on the idea and what you're building than targeting different prizes, I would say. So finding problems is just by looking around yourself. You can decide a theme or the category that you want to work on. Then you research and look for problem statements. You brainstorm with your team and then finalize a problem statement. So the approach is generate ideas and try to filter the ones that you like the most. Then you need to after finalizing an idea, you need to come up with some features, what kind of features you want to have in your web app or mobile app. You prioritize them, because you cannot just build everything, build all the features in 36 hours. And during the hackathon, it's important to prioritize features. So you do that, and prototype on paper. Just have a basic prototype on paper. Just discuss with your team how you want your app to look like, or then you can convert it into a Figma prototype as well. So when you're trying to prioritize features and they all seem equally important, and there will be teammates who would like to pitch their features and would say it's a really nice feature to have, but sometimes it's not possible to have all the features. So you can use Moscow prioritization. You can divide your features into these four categories. So the must have features are some the features that are non-negotiable that you must have in your product. So you can put must have features in that category, and that's something you should start with. There can be features which are, I mean, they should be there in the app, but they are not as important. um, I mean, your product or your app would work without them as well. So, yeah. And then the could have features and the won't have features are like features which don't really make sense. So, it's important to brainstorm and think about these things while prioritizing what features to have. And some tips would be, I would recommend you to check the winning ideas of last year to get inspiration. On DevPost, you can go to the project section, you can filter projects, winning projects, and you can check out the types of projects people have worked on in the past. And that really helps you in coming up with different ideas, and just to know like how people work on these projects if it's your first hackathon. So that will be very helpful. Whatever problem statement you choose, try to do a good research on it. Like, just know all the facts and figures. Ask yourself questions like, does the idea what that you came up with, does it solve the given problem? Is the idea creative and innovative enough? How much time is required for the implementation? What are the must have features? And will this idea make you stand out in the hackathon? And if there's a wow factor or not. So basically, you should ask these questions, and as I mentioned, you should look at the winning ideas to get some inspiration on what type of projects are submitted in hackathons and what kind of ideas win at hackathons. So that research will help you a lot. And whatever problem statement you choose, try to ask these questions, and it will help you in just coming up with better features and coming up with the reasons why you are working on that project. So yeah, those are some of the tips for ideation. After you have finalized your idea, you have set your priorities, you know what are the must have features. The next step is dividing the responsibilities of development or designing. And yeah, you can just divide the work and start building. The approach is, you have an initial setup. You have an initial setup would be something like, you set up, like one of the developers can set up the project and they can push it to GitHub, and the other developers can just clone the repository and work on features. So if you're not able to understand what I'm saying, I would recommend you to watch a GitHub tutorial, and it would be nice to just um, use that and try to collaborate uh, like for coding. So do that initial setup. Then the communication would be, just keep on updating what you're working on, because when you're working with a version control system or like GitHub or Bitbucket, when you're collaborating on these platforms, it happens that someone would push their code to the main branch and the other person will also try to push, and then there will be conflicts. And if you're new to GitHub or Bitbucket and all that, then it might be difficult for you to collaborate. So try to work in different feature branches, and once you are satisfied um, with the code base, you just need to merge your feature branch to the main branch, and the other person, when they work on their feature branch, they should pull the code from the main branch. So I mean, that's important if you're using that system to collaborate. There can be other ways as well that you can discuss and come up with. So, communication is really important. If you are stuck at any technical issue, it's good to reach out to mentors and waste a lot of time on Stack Overflow or trying to just figure things out by yourself. So, yeah, do all those things to get started with building. To start with, I would say choose a programming language or framework on the basis of what you want to make. So you decided a problem statement, you decided what you want to work on. Now, depending on the technical skills that you and your team members have, you can decide what you want to make. You want to make a web app or a mobile app or a game or a hardware project or whatever. So you can decide what programming language will you use, and maybe one member knows HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but the other member doesn't know, and they want to just learn and contribute to the project. So you can just help them out, and they can just watch some basic tutorials and try to contribute to it. And you can also use some open source templates if needed, if you think it will just speed up the process of building. So you can check out some open source templates that are there, and don't forget to give the credit in dev post or in your GitHub for that open source template that you used, or you can simply build from scratch. So that depends on developers how they want to make it. uh, as I mentioned, try to set up your project and push the initial boilerplate code on GitHub and watch the GitHub tutorial if your team members aren't familiar with it. And then you can follow the process. You need to clone the repository, create feature branches, merge them with main. But if this is your first hackathon and you find it difficult, then I would recommend pair programming with the other developer, and you both can just, if there are two developers or three developers, you can just pair program and try to code together. Just try to learn and code and recommend how you are going to proceed with it. So that would work as well. I mean, if GitHub sounds complicated, then that should work as well. And yeah, start with the must have features first. Try to build all those features first, and then focus on other features that you want to have. So yeah, also a lot of times it happens that you really want to have a feature. It might be a must have feature, and your code is somehow not working and you don't have enough time. Well, in that case, you can hard code. And by hard coding, I mean, it just simply, in simple word, it means it works on my machine. And there's no shame in hard coding. It's a hackathon. You're not supposed to just deliver or deploy the whole product, and just, it's not going to go to the um like, it's not going to go to the users as of now. It's just a prototype. During whatever you're building, it's going to be a small prototype. I mean, if you're a good developer, you might be able to deliver the whole product in this much time. But if not, you can definitely hard code. And yeah, um, so by hard coding, if you it's more like, if you have a feature that you can just replicate in the UI part. Suppose when you click on a button, a simple example would be calculator. Suppose you have no idea about the programming. I mean, calculator is very simple, but in case if you just have two text fields, and the first one will accept the first number, the second one will accept the second number, and you have a button, and this should add these two numbers and show you the answer in the next screen. So in this case, the hard coding would be, you simply enter in this case the hard coding, I mean, in this case, you will need a logic, but there can be cases where you can simply show the result in the other screen when you click on the button. So you get the result in the other screen, but it's not actually working. So that's basically what a hard coding is. It's just a way of showing the feature which is not complete, but there can be features that you really want to pitch and really want to show that these features can be really useful, and they might be must have features that you were not able to build on time. So you can try that. I mean, that's a hack. It's a hackathon. So that's a hack for completing your project. I wouldn't recommend hard coding everything because you have 36 hours. You can build some really cool stuff by watching tutorials, by learning from other team members. So I wouldn't recommend hard coding the whole thing, but yeah, for some features, it's totally okay to do that. Yeah, after you're done building, it's time to present your project. So it's the show time. And how are you gonna pitch your project? So some tips would be follow the hackathon guidelines. So you might be aware of the hackathon guidelines for goose hacks. So you need to follow that. You need to submit a dev post. Like on dev post, when you create a project, there are different fields that you need to fill, like the problem statement, what were the challenges, and stuff like that. So you can start filling that. And on DevPost, the thing is, when you create a project, like even if right now you create a project, you can keep on editing it until the deadline. So you can just add the basic details like the project name, the tagline, and you can just continuously work on that. So yeah, have a 2 to 5 minutes a video pitch. For that, I would recommend there are different ways to pitch your project. Some people prefer to have slides, and they just like I have these slides, and I simply record the slides and then show the working demo at the end. Or some people prefer to just record the working demo. So it depends on how you want to do that. I mean, if your product is really it has a lot of features, and 2 to 5 minutes will be needed in explaining just all the features, then you can simply show the you can simply just record your screen and just go through one each feature one by one. Or you can have some slides, which I would recommend having just few slides explaining the problem statement, why you're working on it, what are some other competitors in the market if there are, and yeah, just explaining all the features. And it's good to have a working demo and working demo in the pitch. So try to have that. Even for this, I would recommend check out the winning projects, check out how other people have presented their projects and how they have presented the information on the dev post submission. That would be really helpful. So do that. And there won't be any live judging, I think. So you don't have to think about it. But yeah, in your pitch, you can also anticipate the judges' questions that people might have regarding your project and try to answer them in your pitch in some or the other way. So yeah, those are some of the tips for pitching your idea. And what if you are someone who doesn't have the time to make a project? I'm not talking about this hackathon, but in any hackathon that you go to, hackathons, a lot of hackathons are virtual and they happen every weekend. So there can be times when you have other commitments and you don't have enough time to make a project. So is it still worth joining a hackathon? So it is worth joining a hackathon if you don't have time to make a project or submit a project, you don't have a team, or just any other issue. What you can do apart from hacking at a hackathon is you can join workshops and sessions like this one. You can learn about different things. You can join technical sessions where you learn about different tech stacks or something new, some new technology and stuff like that. You can join fun events or games Some hackathons also have like career fair where sponsors just pitch. I mean, if they have some internships or some full time opportunities, so they try to attract students to that. So you can join the career fair and interact with sponsors, connect with them. Maybe you have a resume ready, you can get some feedback on your resume as well. So you can do that. Yeah, connect with sponsors, ask about internship and full-time roles, or any other question that you might have about that company you're interested in applying to that company in future. So you can just gain more information about it. So these are some of the things that you can do apart from hacking at a hackathon. And yeah, you will win a hackathon if you follow some of these tips. And it totally, like, after doing the hackathon, you will be able to figure out what works for you. So yeah, uh, after you're done with the hackathon, what can you do next? So some final tips from my end would be, please don't abandon your project ideas. It if it won in the hackathon, that means it has potential to do well, and you can continue working on it after the hackathon as well with the same team, or if you individually want to just continue that project, so try to do that. Build it up, deploy it, add it in your resume, and yeah, stay in touch with your old hackathon teammates. If you had fun working with them, you can collaborate with them again in another hackathon, meet them in some in-person hackathons. So yeah, that's one tip. Ask your teammates to endorse you for programming and leadership skills on LinkedIn, and definitely post about your project, tag your teammates, tag the organizers, share your learnings, what you learned from a hackathon. This shouldn't be in the case where when you won the hackathon. If you won the hackathon, then you should definitely post about it. But even if you didn't win, you should share your learnings, the workshop that you attended. It's just good to post on LinkedIn about all these things. And yeah, add your wins to honors and award section on LinkedIn. And yeah, that was all for this workshop. You can scan this barcode and just find some social media handles, and you can connect with me on these platforms. So that was all for this workshop. I am available on Discord if you have any questions about your idea or just anything related to hackathons. You can reach out to me. My username is Coda Jedi on Discord as well, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn, GitHub, or Twitter, or any other places. And yeah, let the hacking begin. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, or you can reach out to me on Discord. Yeah, thanks.